Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Bio with Bayoniks Fitness. I just want to talk with you a little bit about something that it's actually really hard for me to post, but I know that there's some people probably out there going through something similar and could probably relate to this. I'm just going to share with you a little bit about my transformation story and how I made, a big transformation. I've had many, but this is one in particular that really was impactful for me. So I'm going to post a photo up here of about January 2015. I was really feeling bad. I was down to a weight of about, I'd say about 135 pounds. And I'm already, I'm about 5'5", so that was very lean and very skinny. I felt vulnerable, skinny, weak. And I had just basically been beaten up by life for a few years, basically. After Hurricanes Irene in 2011 and Sandy in 2012, I broke up with my girlfriend, my cousin, who was a practicing trauma surgeon in Ohio. He died of stage 4 lung cancer. I threw all my stuff in storage and moved to Ohio for 3 months to help his family. And then after that, I was mentally, emotionally exhausted. I moved back to New York, and I had to basically start over in New York from scratch, all over again. So for the next year, I found myself just hustling all around New York City, going from different gyms. I had lost a lot of clientele, and it was just very hard to build back what I had built up before. And plus, I was very, still didn't even have much time to grieve for myself for the loss of my cousin, who was like a dear brother to me. And I basically just felt like a wreck. I mean, I didn't have the money to really sustain the level of eating that I had when I was at my peak fitness levels. I mean, there was even at times when I was eating like beans and rice for like breakfast and fasting during the day, and then eating beans and rice for dinner. It was terrible. It was one of those feelings where I just felt ashamed walking into the gym. And I mean, I was always courageous and have enough heart, to not let it stop me from taking action. But I just knew people were judging me, and I felt embarrassed that I wasn't really representing the best I could represent as a fitness professional. And it just felt like a very depressive, dark hole. There was times when I was sleeping too much, and it just was kind of like a continuous circle. And I just basically hit rock bottom mentally, emotionally, physically, financially even. I remember selling stuff. I started selling stuff that I possessed in order to basically just pay for basic things like groceries and stuff. It was awful. So I just didn't know how I was gonna really make the transition to get out of this, to make a change. And I knew that there had to be a way. So I was looking for some information online. I was looking for different people in my network and communities. And it all changed when I found a coach that could really help me and truly, sincerely give me the right guidance I needed to begin climbing out of this dark hole that I had basically fallen into. And again, I was one of those guys that looked at it like I had to be a tough guy. Like it was one of those things where I was the one that was just, that caused a lot of everything, and that it was my responsibility to get out of this, and that I needed to be, doing X, Y, Z. But sometimes, things happen to you in life, and you get hit, and then you have to get back up. And sometimes it's your fault, and other times it's part of just the process of being in life. So I learned a lot of ways that I could climb out of that. And I didn't have a lot of money to start with that coach, but I was able to make some ends meet, do a few extra things, a few extra little hustles on the side, scrape it together and make it happen. But that was one of the best decisions of my life, because it really truly gave me a chance to just start fresh and recalibrate my mind, my emotions. And what I did was I just took step-by-step processes that this coach gave me, and I just focused on one thing at a time. One thing at a time, one thing at a time, the next day and the next day and the next day. And in the picture I'm going to show you here above, A year later, I was on top of the world again. You know, I had my physique back. I had actually moved to Miami, a little bit sunnier location. You know, I rebuilt my clientele, was working at a different gym, teaching boxing classes, impacting hundreds and hundreds of lives, sharing my story online and doing various things, and just, you know, living at that full potential, you know, with my physique being at its best. You know, I was dating again. I was doing everything that I knew was, you know, I'd be happy, you know, like, okay, if this was my last day on earth, great, I'm living it to the fullest. And there's no better feeling in the world than to be able to give yourself that gift. And I'm just so grateful that I had, you know, people that I could work with and coaches that are out there, you know, and just, you know, when you know that there's coaches out there that can help you, it just makes all the difference in the world. And so I'm so glad and happy that I made that decision with that coach. I took it to the next level, and I actually listened to what he told me. It made a big impact in my life. And, you know, today I'm in Brazil as well, so I've continued on that journey. It just hasn't stopped, and I've never fallen that low again, thankfully. But even if I did, I know that there's always a way out. So I hope this impacts somebody out there. This was kind of tough to express because I don't like to dwell in those negative emotions. But sometimes it's important for people to hear that, you know, we're fitness professionals, but we've been through it too. So hopefully this is something that helps you, and God bless, and I'll see you around.